Okay, so I shall start with issuing a claim demonstration. So this is the first stage of issuing a claim. So once you're registered with my HMCTS, this is what the landing page will look like, where you will go in and add your email address and the password to log in. So the first screen you'll see will be the Manage Cases URL that you've logged into, and the case list will come up in the main body of the screen. And then there is a Create a Case link there that you will click. And this will take you into creating a new case. So for damages, the jurisdiction and the case type will be civil, and the event you want to do is to create a claim. Then you'll have an eligibility page which shows you the type of cases that are accepted through Practice Direction 51ZB. And the next stage is to add any references if they are known at that point. And then we need the court location code of the court that you think the case should be transferred to once it's at the position in being transferred to a court. If you don't know the court location code, there is the Court Finder link in which you can search for the court and then add that in. And then we can start introducing the details of the claim. As you can see, an error message will pop up if there's any information that should be enclosed and it hasn't been. We have the postcode lookup. And if you're unsure of what the postcode is, you can then manually enter the address details. Then a question around the age of the claimant. If you were to say yes, you have the opportunity to add in the litigation friend details there and upload the certificate of suitability. And then it's to confirm the email address that you would like email notifications to go to relating to the claim that you're issuing. Another opportunity to add in the reference. If that had been added at the beginning of the journey, it would be pre-populated here. And then you can search for your organisation. Once you've searched once and issued that claim, it'll be pre-populated for you moving forward. So you'd only need to search if you were changing the address where you're coming from. A lot of companies, when they register with my HMCTS, register with their headquarters address. So one of the enhancements we introduced after feedback from Go Live was that a correspondence address would be handy for those bigger firms that have more local courts. So any future paper correspondence wasn't always going through to the headquarters address and could go through to their local office address. So this enhancement has been added in for a correspondence address to be brought into the claim. And then we carry on to enter the defendant details. Again, the error message shows that you can't leave the mandatory boxes blank. And then to add a legal representative for the defendant solicitors. So if you to select no, the claim once issued would drop out of the digital portal. And an opportunity to search for the defendant solicitor within my HMCTS if they're registered. And at the current time, the need is for a conversation to happen to make sure that the defendant solicitor has authority to accept service of the email notifications and the claim via their My HMCTS portal. And if that is confirmed, then you can search for the defendant solicitor. It'll automatically start finding the firms for you as you start typing. Select the correct one. If the defendant was legally represented, but they weren't registered with my HMCTS, you would say no at that stage, and then you would be given the option to manually enter their details in on the next page. And then it continues on to this respondent's representative's service address. So again, if you're aware that they have a separate address that they want future correspondence to go to, that can be added. And then the email address for the defendant legal representatives for their email notifications to go through to is required. That is a mandatory field. And then details of the claim. So this is the current list of the claims that are issued within the damages claim service. If you were to pick any other than personal injury, you would go through to the following process. But for personal injury, you can then add a breakdown of what that personal injury is for. And the next stage for all of the case types would then be to give brief details of the claim. So this doesn't need to be the full particulars of claim copy and pasted in the free text box, because you get an option here to actually upload the full document. So it is just a summary on that previous page. And then there's the opportunity here, as you can see, to also add in medical reports or schedule of loss and any other documentation that you need to add at this point. And then we need you to enter the expected value of the claim, and this is used to calculate the court fee that's required to be paid. So it is within the brackets of the pay scale rather than a specific figure. And then that'll play back to you what the court fee is that you need to pay, and give you an opportunity to select the PBA account. And to add a reference that you require to be shown on your PBA account statement. And then it brings you to the statement of truth. So that needs to be completed. And once you've completed each process, you'll always be brought to a check your answers page. So it plays back the questions, the information you've provided, all the way through that process. And then there's a blue change link against each question on the right-hand side, which can be clicked if you realise that information needs to be amended. If you were to change any information, you'd be taken back through the statement of truth page to re-sign, and then you would submit the claim. There's always a confirmation page to confirm that the action's been received and completed. If there's any documents that need to be downloaded or can be downloaded, there'll be the blue link there for that to be done. And if there's any time frames, it'll also be notified here. So in this example, it says you must notify the defendant legal representative of the claim within 4 months of the claim being issued. So that's reflective of those time periods that are in the current paper journey. And then you can close and return to the case. This is what the case screen will look like once it's been issued. So you've got your summary tab and your claims details tab, and then the history tab to show what's happened on the case. So this is the case submitted. You'll receive an email notification to say that the payment's been successful. Once the payment's successful, it'll create a claim documents tab along the line here with summary, case, claim details and history. So you'll always have that claim form PDF within that claims documents tab to go back to. And then the next stage for the claimant solicitor would be to notify the claim. So as I say in the previous notification, you do have 4 months to do the notify of the claim. It's a simple process to say that you're going to continue to notify the defendant's solicitor and grant them access to the claim. Once that's submitted, that's that process step done. And there's the confirmation page again there, and again the date. So the next step for the claimant solicitor would be to notify the defendant of the claim details, which is effectively serving the case, and it gives you the time frame for doing that, which is 14 days after you've notified the claim. So you can see there on the summary page that the payment's been successful, and now the claim documents tab has been populated. You can see that there. In the history tab, it shows you that you've notified the claim and that the email has gone to the defendant's solicitor to notify them of the claim. And then that step that has to then be done within the 14 days is the notify claim details. So again, you would go to the next steps option. It will pull up notify claim details, and it'll be the same process through as you've just seen for notify the claim. So that is the end of the claim issuing journey. So we'll just move on to the first stage of the defendant's journey. So we're at the point in the claim where the claim notification email has been provided and the claim details email's gone through to say that the claim is now there to be viewed and for them to respond to. So the first action for a defendant solicitor, you have a case access administrator role within the firm, and that person's responsibility is to assign claims to the correct litigators. So you will log in through the Manage Organisation URL. You will be presented with the information for your organisation. You do have access to the users list and then the unassigned cases list. So any cases that have been issued against the firm will appear here. As you can see, there's different statuses on the right-hand side. Proceeding in heritage system means it's dropped out of the digital portal and it's proceeding in the paper world. And then you've got your awaiting acknowledgement or awaiting response. So at this point, it's just been issued, so we're awaiting acknowledgement. So you can select as many cases as needs be for the one litigator and allocate them all at the same time by the share case feature. So it'll bring you to this page where you need to add in their email address for that specific litigator that you're going to allocate these cases to. So you put in the email address, you can see the cases below that you've selected, and you can click add. And then continue. And this is the check and confirmation page. So it plays back the cases that you've selected, the email address you're wanting to add to that case. You've got the blue change link again on the right hand side if you need to go back, change that email address. And once it's confirmed, those cases have then been assigned to that litigator. That's the first stage. I shall move on to how they then respond. So within this response demonstration, we don't have recorded the ability to add an extension of time to file the defence, but that is an option within the service. So as the defendant solicitor, you'll log into the Manage Cases URL, and it will bring up your case list of the claims that have been assigned to you. And again, it shows the state as to where the case is up to, so awaiting defendant's response. I'll drop you into the case, and in the next steps, you can click to acknowledge claim. So it plays back the information to make sure that the information for your party is correct. If it's not, to contact the claimant's solicitor. If a defendant's representative reference has been included, it would be pre-populated here and it can be changed, or you can add it in if it doesn't appear. And then the options as to how you're going to acknowledge the claim. In the current digital journey, Defend All will stay within the digital portal. But currently, defend part or contest jurisdiction would drop out into the paper route. So check your answers page. Defendant intends to defend all of the claim. Again, there's the blue change link if need be. and then you would click Acknowledge Claim when happy. And the confirmation page that that action's been taken, and gives you the next time frame for when the response needs to be complied with and the download document. Once you return to the case, that PDF for that document will be in the claims details, claims document tab, should I say. And this video will now continue to show the respond to claim journey, but this doesn't have to be done at the same time. There's obviously the 14-day gap in between the two, as it would be in the paper world. Once you're in this journey, you would then select whether you reject all the claim, admit all of the claim, part of the claim, or reject all of the claim and counterclaim. The current digital journey supports the reject all of the claim, and the other three options would currently drop out to the paper world. An opportunity to upload your defence, and the grey text explains the size of the document, the formats the documents can be provided in. They have to be machine readable, and that the statement of truth has been signed when that's submitted. Confirming that the details are correct again, as we did in the acknowledgement stage. As you can see, the defendant's reference has been pre-populated. And then the practice direction 51ZB that supports the damages service has the need for the directions questionnaire to be completed at this stage. And it runs through the same directions questionnaire questions as you see in the paper world. If additional information is required, once you click on the radio button, the additional information boxes will appear, but we hide that information until you actually click that you need to provide it, just so it doesn't clog up the pages when first viewing them. You obviously wouldn't need to keep clicking on the different buttons, you would just click the buttons that apply to the case. We get to the stage of any expert information or details that can be provided, and any witnesses. And it'll also ask for any dates of availability at this stage that you're aware of that can be taken into account. Questions around how the witnesses want their evidence, if it's English or Welsh or both. And then around the estimated hearing time. And there's the date of availability there, so you can add a document if need be. And then upload draft directions. Again, it gives guidance on the format that can be uploaded in and the size of the document. And then it asks you to confirm either the court location code that the claimant solicitor has requested, or you can add in your own, and then there's the links there for the court finder if you need to see which code it is they've chosen, or to find your own. And then hearing requirements that need to be taken into account when the listing officer comes to list the case. And again, additional information boxes will pop up if they're needed. And then an opportunity to say whether you intend to make any further application in the future and give the judge information regarding that, or a free text box there to add any further information that you wish the judge to consider when he views the directions questionnaires. And the statement of truth. And then it takes us to the check your answers page. So this one will play back the defence options and then all the directions questionnaire questions and the answers. And again, there's an opportunity to change those if need be. And again, if you do change the information, it'll take you back through the statement of truth to re-sign. Confirmation page that that's gone through, and also the time frame in which the claimant then has to say whether they are intending to proceed with the claim or not. And as I say, there is an opportunity in the next steps to add an extension of time or a litigation friend as well. If the extension of time is agreed between the parties, then you can come on and add that agreement in, given the date that has been agreed. So that's the response journey. And then there is a claimant intention journey. So the claimant will receive the email notification through to say that the defendant has provided a defence for the claim and directions questionnaires, and given the time frame in which they then need to comply with their intention step. So through the Manage Cases URL, the litigator will have their case list. They can see there that the claimant intent is pending in the status. They can select the correct case. So the next steps option is to view and respond to defence. And it drops you into the page which updates you as to how the defendant has responded, so rejects all of the claim, gives you the PDF that they've uploaded so you can view that. That PDF is also housed in that claims document tab, so you'll be able to find it there as well. And it will include the directions questionnaire PDF questions in there too. And then we need to select whether you want to proceed with the claim or not. If you were to select no, it would discontinue the claim once you completed this process. If you select yes, it'll give you the opportunity to add a document in response to the defence, again with guidance on the size and the format that that needs to be in. And then it'll throw you into the directions questionnaires then for the claimant, and that'll run through the same questions as we've just seen in the defendant journey. So we'll skip that along. Again, you have the opportunity to inform the judge if any further applications will be made in the future if you know of them at that point, or enter free text box for any further information, and then sign the statement of truth. On the check your answers page, you can run through all the answers that you've provided in that journey. Go back and change anything if you need to, or submit your response. So the email notification that will be sent out as a result of that process will inform both parties that the directions questionnaires are filed. The case will now be referred to a judge for directions, and the case would be transferred out to the local court. And that's the end of the current digital journey in the damages portal.